Converted Man here. Okay, this is a nice mouthful of things to respond to. Why Atheists Win Debates Against Christians, uploaded by The Beat by Alan Parr. Wow, what a long title. Okay, so let's respond to this, shall we?
How God brought him to the faith. Jim used to be an atheist. He used to be one of the world's most sought after cold case detectives until the Lord allowed him to use his detective skills. The same.
All right, I love this trope of, used to be an atheist, and I don't know if I should harp on it that much, but I find no evidence that shows that this guy was actually an atheist. So I just doubt that he was. I really do. Whenever that trope is brought up, it's like, what do you mean by atheists? Like, because all the atheists I've interacted with have this standard of empirical evidence being a necessary thing to believe in a phenomenon. And the so-called former atheists that come on and are apologists don't seem to have had that standard when they were an atheist. So I find it hard to think that they were. But if there was evidence that they were, that would be something. But there really isn't. So I think it's just to make it seem better. But it's interesting. So the guy was somebody that people look to do detective stuff until the Lord came calling. Well, I think he might have been a detective until he failed at doing that and decided that the God thing might turn in some profit. Show me where he actually did detective work and for whom and how sought after he was. How about some citation of that? Oh, right. We don't have that. So Jim Wallace is this guy's name. All right. So we Google good old Jim Wallace, and we get a Wikipedia entry on him, and it seems like I think it's the guy he's talking to. Yeah, got gray hair. So yeah, let's just check that out real quick, just to cover all bases here. So this is Jim Wallace, looks like, and let me get okay. So he's an American theologian, writer, teacher, and political activist. He's the founder of editor Sojourners, whatever magazine, which is Christian social justice organization. Lovely. Founder of Washington, D.C. based Christianity community of the same name. He's known for the advocacy of his issues of peace and social justice. He has used political labels. He describes himself as whatever. Often associated with the evangelical left and the wider Christian left. Interesting. He worked as a spiritual advisor to Barack Obama, and he was leader in the Red Letter Christian movement. So I see zero evidence that he was any of the things. So is this the right? So is this the right guy? I don't know. I mean, let's see, cold Christianity. Let's see, because it might be a different guy. I mean, that's possible. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's a different guy. This is a problem with not linking to things, is then I have to look it up, and it makes it just harder. So thanks for that, guys. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, all right, here's the right gray hair guy. Hey, leave the mistake in. It's fine. So here we go. Warner Wallace. That was interesting to find that there was another Wallace that was also a Christian, though. Anyways, he's an American homicide detective. Is he? Okay, well, it says it is. So, and a Christian apologist. Okay, so blah 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 blah. He's been featured as a cold case homicide expert on Fox 11 Los Angeles. Okay, so It looks like he had some stuff in the cold case unit stuff. Okay. Investigated a high number of profile murders. Now, see, that's not the same claim that was made, though. It's like, oh, he saw after. Well, I don't know. He was on Dateline. Okay, so yeah, there's some stuff to it. Okay. 1968, he became a Christian at the age of 35. So, are we to think that he was an atheist from the age of 1 to 34 then? After investigating the Gospels as potential eyewitness accounts, life of Jesus, using his skill set as a detective. Well, no, he didn't use his skill set as a detective, because if he had done that, he wouldn't be a Christian. So this seems to me like a replay of that other guy that wrote the thing where he's a journalist and all that. So it seems like the same thing to me. He began applying the principle of cold case homicide to investigating Christian apologetics, right? Which, if he had actually done that, he wouldn't be a Christian. But he's written 5 books. Of course he has, All right, so that's that guy. So yeah, I had to go and dig up all that because they couldn't been bothered to just tell me who the guy is and link to him in the description or anything. So I had to waste my time finding out who the bleep we're talking about. Anyways, all right. So he was a cold case detective. Let's see. Anyways, all right.
Be used to try to prove whether or not Christianity and the Bible and the resurrection of Jesus Christ was really an actual historical event. And these things that he did actually led him to believe that Jesus was the one true God. And
well, that's what he's claiming. And anybody can make a claim. Like I applied my detective skills to this, blah blah blah, and that's why I became a Christian. Or you might have been a Christian already and then decided that you could write books and use the idea that you're a cold case detective solver as a marketing means to push those books. Either could be true. I mean, both could be true. Anyways, okay.
Came out of atheism, and now he is using his faith, he's using his skills, and he's using his testimony to reach people all over the world. So this is a short clip from a longer interview that I had with him. And in this clip, he talks about the importance of why every Christian needs to know what we believe and why we believe it. So check it out.
Yeah, so not the importance of empirical evidence, repeatable testing, forensic evidence, archaeological research, knowing the dates and locations of when, where, and who did what. Who wrote any part of the Bible? Where did they find it later on? What archaeological teams were the ones to find whatever pieces of paper were found? And where were they found? What was the first writing known? And when was it discovered? And by whom? And who had it? And how was that chain of custody controlled? And all that. No, we're not going to do any of that.
This is definitely something that's a passion point for me. It's a pain point for me. And even when I speak to people who used to be atheists and now they're Christian, they would often say that they've had conversations with Christians and they're just not able to clearly defend what they believe and why they believe. Just trust it by faith, or just this is what I've always been taught. Let's just say somebody out there, they're watching and they're like, hey, I want to be able to defend my faith. I want to really understand how this Christianity thing came to pass and why.
Now, remember that JMD Does Wolves video I did a while back here, where he said, faith is trusting people, right? How would you defend your trusting people here? It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So the way that he's using faith, it seems like you're defending a belief set, something that you believe in, separately from evidence, because I haven't heard that word be used yet. So, yeah. Anyways, just wanted to point that out.
It's true. What would be some of your best advice to help people step up in that area? Because, you all are watching this and you're going to be faced with conversations with skeptics and unbelievers. Yeah. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's somebody on the plane or whatever. Or maybe it's an atheist who is skilled in debate and they are ready for all of your arguments and they know exactly what you're going to say. And if you, as we said earlier, and you jump straight to, well, the Bible says this, and as soon as they say, I don't think your Bible is a reliable source, I don't believe in your Bible, most Christians, unfortunately, they're stuck. They don't know there's nowhere else for them to go because they put all of their faith either in the Bible or they put it in their personal testimony. Well, I don't know about okay, if you don't believe in the Bible, that's fine, but I can tell you what God did for me. But
right, and none of that works. So I actually like that they're admitting that stuff doesn't work.
Then if there's somebody who's a Muslim, they'll say, well, you know what? My life has been changed by Islam, or my life, I'm Black Hebrew Israelite. My life's been so still you have no proof that what you believe is actually true.
Wow.
So true. So what would you say to a Christian who they want to be girded up?
Yeah.
But
well, first of all, take a uniquely Christian approach. So this is not a set of proverbial statements that can't be tested. It's not like we have a set of scripture like Baha'u'llah in the Baha'i faith, where you just have a set of statements that Baha'u'llah makes that we have to trust that these have value, and you can kind of see that they've had value in my life, so therefore that's what makes them true. This is a different view. This is a view that's grounded in a historical event called the resurrection. You can tell.
Okay, so just calling an event historical doesn't make it actually historical. So the resurrection didn't happen. Period. Didn't happen. Never happened. It isn't historical. It's made up. Full cloth. That didn't happen. Never happened. It can't happen. So you're still relying on the Bible story to convince the person that you're trying to convince. That's just not good enough, because you don't actually have historical evidence that any of that stuff actually happened. But let's hear what he has to say.
Past historical events. It's very unusual. It's not the wisdom statements of Buddha. No, it's about an historical event, the resurrection. It's not about the wisdom statements of Hinduism, or it's not about Confucius. It's about an event that occurred. If it didn't occur, we're out. If it did occur, we're in. And I think most
it didn't occur, so you're out.
People, if you ask them, why are you a Christian? I've done this a number of times, and what I usually get are 3 different ways people will answer. 1, I was raised that way. That is the most popular answer people give. I was raised in the church. 2, I've had an experience that confirmed for me that Christianity is true. And that experience can be a lot of different weird things. It can be a lot of really good things, really cool things, but it's just an experience. Or 3, God just does this. It's nothing I did. It's just that God, well, you realize that this is the same answer that everyone gives.
Wow. I like that honesty. That's refreshing for a change to hear that. That's usually what my complaints are, among others. But yeah, and to go further, none of those ways is a way to know what's true, only to know what you feel or what you've been taught.
If you're a Mormon, those are your 3 answers. If you're a Muslim, those are your 3 answers. We could do better than that. We have the one worldview that could be tested historically to see if it's true. And
okay, and what's that test?
This is how the first century apostles did this. Who makes it the list on apostles who are sharing that? It's the eyewitnesses. When Judas is taken out of the group, who replaces Judas? Well, they're in the upper room, Acts 1. We need somebody who's seen Jesus from the baptism to the resurrection. Why? Eyewitness. You need an eyewitness. Matthias counts, you're in. You'll take Judas's spot. Why do we need an eyewitness? Because here's how we're going to share the gospel. We're going to show people that the Old Testament predicted this, and then we're going to talk about how we saw it with our own eyes.
Okay, so whether they're eyewitnesses or not, I mean, they could make up that they saw things, right? Because people make up stories. So they're aware of the Old Testament, even though at that time it wouldn't have been called that. It would have been the Torah. Now, I don't know if they had access to a Torah to carry around and to show people. It might have been very heavily controlled. That is something that religious people used to do, is control the sacred writings. So I don't know how well the common person would have had access, or how widespread access to the Torah would have been in those days. So we'd have to have some sort of figure about that. We'd have to have some knowledge about that. We do know that illiteracy was rampant in that era, and in that area as well. So those times in that place, illiteracy was very much the common. So even if a lot of Torahs were floating around, that doesn't mean anything because people can't read them. So the person has to rely upon the rabbi to read it for them because the rabbi is educated and knows how to read, but the local person isn't. Plus, it's written perhaps, and they don't know the language. So the disciples then would have been in a very good position to say, well, the Torah says X, Y, and Z, and nobody could have go and verify it unless they knew a rabbi, or unless they were a rabbi, or unless they talked to a rabbi, like later on, that they could do it. Like, it wasn't like they could say, see, here it is in the Torah, and hold up a Torah. And even if they were able to do that, which oddly enough, the Bible doesn't say that any of the disciples did this, by the way. So this is all pure speculation on his part. It doesn't outline how they spread this word, but even if they had a physical Torah, if like most of your audience can't read, that doesn't help them. And it's like they still have to go to is that really what it says, Rabbi? And it's like, yeah, but that's not what we meant. And none of the things that they think are prophecy are actually prophecy. Like, none of the Jewish people recognize Jesus as their prophet, and they would be the ones to know. They would have been the ones to immediately convert, but Jesus didn't fulfill the prophecies that we were looking to fulfill. Jesus didn't fulfill the role that the Savior is supposed to fill. And that's evidently clear if you ask the Jews, if you look at what they say about Jesus. So basically, these guys who supposedly saw these events said, okay, well, we need people that saw it. Well, whatever, I don't know. We need people who are willing to go along with our story, because I don't know if any of these people existed in the first place, but let's assume they did, just because, okay, so you got 11-ish people and you add another one, whatever. We'll go around. We'll tell people, hey, I was there. I saw it. I saw Jesus do blah, blah, blah. And that's in the Torah in blah, blah, blah. Okay, so all you have is somebody saying that they saw somebody do something that you didn't see yourself. That's not evidence. That's hearsay.
That's called direct evidence.
No, it's not.
That is an entirely evidential way of sharing the gospel.
It's not direct evidence. No, it's not direct evidence. Not even a little. It's basing like, oh, this guy said that he saw a guy do this thing that he also says is in the Torah, and that was also a prediction of the Messiah. Yeah, but I didn't see him do that. Why should I believe you? Well, I saw it. How do I know that? Well, this guy saw it. How do I know that? Well, I mean, we all wouldn't lie, would we? Sure you would. Why wouldn't you? Of course you could lie. People lie all the time. You're just making up a religion. So what? Why should I care? It's not evidence. It's nothing. It's hearsay. It's not direct evidence. It's not evidence at all. It's ridiculous. Call yourself a detective. So does that mean if I was like, yeah. There was a murder, and I saw the killer. Yeah. I saw who did it. Okay. You're going to ask me some questions now, I would think, right? And it's like, oh, and this other person also saw the killer. Oh, we got like 12 people that saw the killer. All right, cool. The killer also, by the way, could fly into the sky. Now you're like, well, wait a minute. I've never seen a killer fly into the sky, but all 12 of us said that that's what happened. Are you going to just believe us? or are you going to doubt that part of our story because it contradicts what we know about reality? I don't know. Just saying, just a question.
And show me where on the pages of the New Testament you'll ever have somebody telling you their transformation story. Even when Paul talks about meeting, it's about his observations of the resurrected Christ.
Right.
So we've now taken the idea of testimony.
Yeah.
And
as if that's some
as
sort
if
of
it's
evidence
just
or
our
proof.
story.
Yeah.
No, testimony is when an eyewitness testifies to the actions that didn't involve him.
Wow.
Right. And so we need to be testifying, because you can still make an evidential case for the resurrection, even though.
No, you can't. You can say what the story that isn't a first-hand account. It's not a second-hand account. I don't know what number it is of the account, but it's far down the food chain of levels of a story of a story of a story of a story. That's nothing. That's nothing new. And you're still using the Bible to try to convince the other person. Nothing new is being presented here.
A few of us know how to make it, but that is what testimony was in the first century.
Yeah.
And so this kind of an evidential approach to our faith. Why does it matter? Okay, well, look, it may not even matter for some of the people who are watching, because you might think, you know what, I'm already a Christian and I'm good. I don't need to have. Do you have kids? If you have kids, if you're my age and you have kids, there's a good chance your kids are not in the faith. That means statistically, if you're a Christian who raised your kids in the church.
Oh, no, not that. Oh, no. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because, a lot of people are waking up to the fact that there isn't any evidence for this God thing, and just looking at the absurdities talked about in the Bible, and they just don't buy into it anymore. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm all now prayers allowed back in school, so who knows? I don't know.
There's a really good chance that you're watching this right now and your kids are no longer believers. And
Good.
They needed to know at some point whether this was true, not just true for you, but true objectively.
Nope,
true for everyone.
Nope.
They needed to know that. And the temptation always at that point is to say, I got a book I'm going to give you. J. Warner Wallace has written these books. We'll give you one of his. No, it's about, they want you.
That's right.
To tell them if it's true and to be able to make that case. Not from me. They don't know me. They want you to be able to make that case. And that's the power of it. It's relationship and information together. That's what changes everything. I can give you the information, but I don't have the relationship. You have the relationship.
Yeah, well, the data and facts should speak for themselves, and the relationship is completely and utterly irrelevant. But I understand why you would want there to be a relationship. That way it's easier to emotionally manipulate somebody into believing what you want them to believe. All right, no problem. Got it.
Relationship, but you don't have the information right now. Put the information with the relationship and you'll change everything, even the lives of your own kids. So
basically buy his book, but the parent reads it to then tell the kid the stuff that they learned from his book. Got it. Yeah, all right.
That's the only reason why you do it. That would be a good enough reason, because I am concerned about the future. And guess what? The future doesn't involve 60-year-old guys. The future involves the next generation. It's Gen Z, whether they're going to become Christians or not.
Yep, and they're not. So, oh well, your religion's going to fade out into history. I mean, it's going to join the other religions in history as well. It's only a matter of time, and hopefully we'll do that with all the religions and all the beliefs that we have that aren't grounded by empirical evidence, repeatable tests, or evidential ideas from science, if you will. So hopefully we'll do that. Goodness knows if we will, but hopefully.
And I'll say one last thing about this. We're recording this right now, one of my favorite states of all, because my dad was raised about 2 hours from here, and I grew up in this Dallas area, and we were huge Cowboy fans. And here I am in Los Angeles, and I still follow the Cowboys. And I can tell you how Mike McCarthy got here as coach. And I remember when you're watching this, he may not be the coach anymore, but I can tell you the whole history of coaches leading up to where we are right now. And I can tell.
Yeah, the problem is that coaches can actually be verified, and your coaches never turned water into wine or healed somebody blind or when running onto the field and killed the player and brought them back to life or something. You know, so I can think that, yeah, that they probably existed. The problem is with Jesus is, like, he supposedly did all these things, and none of them are believable. That's kind of a difference there. That's the problem. Ah, well, you're almost done with this. Yeah.
Who the running backs have been. And I went to school at UCLA when Troy Aikman was there.
Yeah.
So I was to tell you that I'm a huge fan, and I can make a really good case for why they're going to win this year in playoffs or whether they're not.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of you can too. There's something that you are already able to make a case about. And it's probably not Christianity. It's probably something else you're geeked out about. I look at my phone. My phone has got half the podcasts are theology, half the podcasts are sports. And my wife will often say to me,
hey, that breaks the Bible. You can't serve two masters. So is God your master or is sports your master? Nah.
You know so much about that. And I think that's really convicting. I don't know why I know so much about it. It's like your headspace is not infinitely open. Yeah, I'm going to push something out in order to put that in. Here's all I'm suggesting to anyone is that, hey, you just need to reprioritize the stuff that you are already willing to clutter up your head with. And for a lot of us, it's something.
That's good advice.
Right? I mean, we do a better job of raising up the next generation of sports fans than we do the next generation of Christians.
Yeah.
Well, sports are more interesting than theology. At least sports changes over time. Oh, well, whatever.
Why? Because they see what we're excited about.
Yeah.
So it's time for us to get excited about the things that really matter.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah.
When you start comparing, like, okay,
it's time to get excited. Yeah. It's time to get excited. Yeah. Here's how you do it, okay? It's time to get excited. Yeah. There you go. There you go. That's just some acting advice for me, okay? Just saying. It's time to get excited. Yeah. No, it's time to get excited. Yeah. It's time to get excited. Let's get excited. Yeah. Go, Jesus. Go. Goal. Make the goal. Football. Woo. What was I doing? All right.
how much time do I spend on YouTube? How much time do I spend on Instagram? If you just took 30% of the time that you spend looking at Instagram and checking out photos and scrolling through the news feed, if you just take 30% of that, or Netflix binging all your favorite shows for hours and hours, right? We're not saying don't do those things, but if you just take just a fraction of that time and maybe pick up a book on apologetics, or maybe go to gotquestions.org, or maybe go to, maybe we'll put some links in the description of some websites that we recommend that you guys can really go to really gird yourselves up and to really prepare yourself to be ready to give an answer for the hope that you have. 1 Peter 3:15, right? Because it is really short clip of a long.
So, there wasn't. So the reason why Christians lose debates to atheists, according to this guy, is because they don't offer the idea of the resurrection being historical. Well, even if they did, they would still lose the debate because the resurrection isn't historical. So that's the end of that. Didn't happen. You would need to show me that miracles can even happen at all. And you can't do that. You can't. Nobody has. Nobody will. So I have no reason to think that miracles are even a thing or even possible, because there's no demonstrable demonstration of them. Not even a little. And people go, oh, well, they're rare. Yeah, and they're uncontrollable. You can't call upon them on will. And, you can't test God and all these excuses. And that's all they are, is excuses. All you would need to win an argument against an atheist is empirical evidence, repeatable test, or for me, a valid and sound argument. But you don't have any of those. So we should hold your conclusion in judgment. Thanks for watching.